Take a breath right now, a real one. Because what I'm about to share with you isn't just another technique or another promise. This is about something far more profound. This is about understanding a fundamental truth that once you really grasp it, will change everything about how you move through this world. You know, I spent decades studying the nature of consciousness, the nature of reality, and I can tell you this with absolute certainty. Your mind is not just a passive receiver of reality. Your mind is the very architect of your experience. And right now, in this moment, you have the power to rearrange the furniture, to redesign the blueprint, to create something entirely new. But here's what most people don't understand. They think manifestation is about wanting something really hard. They think it's about vision boards and affirmations repeated until your voice goes hoarse. And while those things can be helpful, they're missing the deeper truth. The real work of manifestation isn't about acquiring something outside of yourself. It's about rearranging your internal world so completely that the external world has no choice but to reflect back what's already within you. Let me tell you something I learned many years ago, something that changed my entire life. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Now, you might have heard that before, but have you really felt it? Have you really lived it? Because that's not just a catchy phrase. That's a fundamental law of the universe. It's quantum physics. It's ancient spiritual wisdom. It's the key to everything you've been seeking. Think about water for a moment. Water doesn't change its essential nature, whether it's a raging river or a peaceful lake. But depending on how that water arranges itself, depending on the form it takes, it can carve through mountains or sit perfectly still, reflecting the sky. Your mind is like that water. The same consciousness, the same awareness, the same infinite potential, but depending on how you arrange it, depending on the patterns you allow it to form, you either carve your way through obstacles or you become a mirror for everything that's already perfect and whole within you. Here's what I want you to understand. Every single limitation you're experiencing right now, every block, every frustration, every door that seems closed, it exists first and foremost in your mind. Not because you're weak, not because you're doing something wrong, but because you've been conditioned, programmed, taught to arrange your thoughts in a particular way. And that arrangement has created the reality you're living in right now. Your childhood taught you certain things, your culture taught you certain things, your past failures, your disappointments, your wounds, they all taught you to think in specific patterns, and those patterns became neural pathways. They became habits of perception. They became the lens through which you see everything. And here's the thing about lenses, they don't change what's actually there. They only change what you're able to see. So when I talk about rearranging your mind, I'm talking about changing the lens. I'm talking about interrupting those old patterns that have been running on autopilot for so long that you've forgotten they're even there. I'm talking about becoming aware of the thoughts you think about your thoughts, the beliefs you have about your beliefs, the stories you tell about your stories. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really sit with this. What would your life look like if you removed just one limiting belief? Just one. What if you stopped believing that you're not worthy of abundance? What if you stopped believing that success has to be a struggle? What if you stopped believing that you're somehow separate from the creative force that brought everything into existence? Because here's the truth, and this is something I want you to hear deeply. You are not separate from Source. You are not separate from God, from the universe, from the infinite intelligence that created galaxies and butterflies and everything in between. You are an individualized expression of that same creative force, which means that the power that created everything is the same power that's animating you right now in this very moment. But somewhere along the way, you forgot that. Somewhere along the way, you started believing that you were small, limited, separate, unworthy. And those beliefs became the structure of your mind. They became the rooms you live in, the walls you can't see past, the ceiling that keeps you from expanding into everything you're meant to be. Rearranging your mind means tearing down those walls. It means questioning every single assumption you've been carrying around like they're facts. It means asking yourself, is this thought serving me? Is this belief creating the life I want to live? Or is it just something I picked up somewhere along the way, something I never even chose consciously? I'll tell you what I know for certain. Your thoughts create your feelings. Your feelings create your actions. Your actions create your results. And your results reinforce your thoughts. It's a loop, a cycle. And most people are stuck in that cycle, wondering why their life never changes. They're stuck because they're trying to change their results without ever changing their thoughts. They're trying to redecorate the house without ever questioning the foundation it's built on. but you can step out of that cycle right now, not tomorrow, not after you read another book or take another course or figure out the perfect strategy. Right now, you can decide to see things differently. You can decide to rearrange the mental furniture. You can decide to question the thoughts that have been running your life without your permission. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to manifest financial abundance. Most people approach this by looking at their bank account, seeing what's not there, and then feeling stressed, worried, anxious about money. And that feeling of lack becomes the dominant vibration they're sending out into the universe. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, sends them back more experiences of lack, more bills, more stress, more evidence that money is scarce and hard to come by. But what if you rearranged your mind around money? What if, instead of focusing on what's not there, you started focusing on the abundance that already surrounds you? The air you breathe, abundant. The water that flows from your tap, abundant. The ideas in your mind, infinite. The love in your heart, inexhaustible. What if you started to train your mind to see abundance everywhere, in everything? What if you started to feel wealthy before the money showed up? This isn't about denying reality. This isn't about pretending you don't have bills to pay. This is about understanding that your current reality is the result of your past thinking. And if you want a different future, you need to think different thoughts now. You need to feel different feelings now. You need to rearrange your internal world now so that the external world has a new pattern to follow. You see, the universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. It responds to your vibration, your frequency, your state of being. And your state of being is determined by the arrangement of your mind, by the thoughts you think most often, by the beliefs you hold most deeply, by the stories you tell yourself about who you are and what's possible for you. So if you want to manifest anything, and I mean anything, you have to become the person who already has it. You have to rearrange your mind so completely that you're thinking the thoughts, feeling the feelings, and taking the actions of someone who's already living that reality. Not someday, now. This is what I mean when I say you'll see it when you believe it. Not the other way around. Most people are waiting to see it before they'll believe it. They're waiting for the evidence before they'll have faith. But that's backwards. Belief comes first. The internal shift comes first. The rearrangement of your mind comes first. And then and only then does the external reality begin to shift to match it. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. You might be saying, but Wayne, I've tried to think positively. I've tried to believe in myself, and nothing changed. And I want to address that because it's so important. The issue isn't that manifestation doesn't work. The issue is that most people are trying to plant new seeds in old soil. They're trying to grow new thoughts in a mind that's still cluttered with old beliefs, old patterns, old ways of seeing. You can't just slap a positive affirmation on top of a deeply held negative belief and expect magic to happen. That's like trying to build a beautiful house on a cracked foundation. Eventually, the cracks show up in the walls. You have to go deeper. You have to examine the foundation. You have to be willing to dig up the old beliefs that are still running the show from beneath the surface. And this requires something that most people aren't willing to do. It requires radical self-honesty. It requires you to look at the ways you've been lying to yourself, the ways you've been making excuses, the ways you've been playing small and calling it humility, the ways you've been choosing fear and calling it realism. Because here's the thing, your ego doesn't want you to rearrange your mind. Your ego is invested in keeping everything exactly as it is. Why? Because the ego's job is survival, and survival means predictability. The ego would rather have you be predictably miserable than unpredictably joyful, because at least misery is familiar. At least limitation is known. The unknown is terrifying to the ego. But you are not your ego. You are the awareness that watches the ego. You are the consciousness that can observe your thoughts without being consumed by them. And from that place of awareness, you have the power to choose. You have the power to say, thank you for trying to protect me, ego, but I'm choosing something different now. I'm choosing to rearrange my mind. I'm choosing to step into the unknown. I'm choosing to become who I'm meant to be, even if it scares you. This is the real work of manifestation. Not the vision boards, not the affirmations, not the rituals. Those things can support the process, but the real work is internal. The real work is becoming conscious of the unconscious patterns that have been running your life. The real work is choosing moment by moment, thought by thought, to align yourself with the truth of who you really are. And who are you really? You are a spiritual being having a human experience. You are an infinite soul temporarily inhabiting a physical body. You are connected to everything and everyone. You are a creator, made in the image of the ultimate creator. You are worthy, not because of what you've achieved or what you own or who loves you, but simply because you exist. Your worthiness is inherent. It's not something you have to earn. It's something you have to remember. When you remember this, when you really deeply remember this, everything changes. Your mind rearranges itself naturally because you're no longer operating from a place of lack. You're no longer operating from a place of fear or separation or unworthiness. You're operating from a place of wholeness, from a place of connection, from a place of infinite possibility. And from that place, manifestation isn't something you have to force or figure out. It's something that happens naturally, organically, effortlessly, because you're in alignment, you're in flow. You're no longer pushing against reality. You're dancing with it. You're no longer trying to control everything. You're trusting the intelligence of the universe to guide you exactly where you need to go. Let me tell you about a principle that changed everything for me, the principle of detachment. Most people think manifestation is about wanting something so badly that you pull it toward you through sheer force of will. But that's not how it works. That's attachment. And attachment is actually the biggest block to manifestation. Why? Because when you're attached to an outcome, you're coming from a place of lack. You're saying, I need this thing to be happy. I need this thing to be complete. I'm not enough without it. But detachment says, I desire this thing, and I'm taking inspired action toward it, but I'm already whole whether I get it or not. My happiness doesn't depend on it. My worthiness doesn't depend on it. I'm complete right now, in this moment, exactly as I am. And paradoxically, it's from that place of detachment that manifestation happens most powerfully, because you're no longer trying to fill a hole. You're creating from overflow. You're creating from wholeness. You're creating because it's your nature to create, not because you need something outside yourself to be okay. This is the difference between manifestation that feels like struggle and manifestation that feels like flow. When you're struggling, you're pushing. When you're in flow, you're allowing. And allowing requires trust. It requires surrender. It requires you to rearrange your mind from control to cooperation, from force to grace. Now, here's where this gets really practical, because I don't want you to think this is just philosophy. This is about your actual life, your actual dreams. The things you want to create, the experiences you want to have, the person you want to become. So let's talk about how you actually rearrange your mind on a daily basis. First, you have to become aware of your thoughts, not just the surface thoughts, but the deep ones, the ones that run on repeat in the background like a radio station you forgot was on. You have to start catching yourself when you think limiting thoughts. When you think, I can't afford that, or I'm not good enough, or that's just not how things work for people like me. You have to catch those thoughts and question them. Is that really true? Or is that just a story I've been telling myself? And if it's just a story, can I choose a different one? Second, you have to deliberately choose new thoughts. Not just positive thoughts for the sake of being positive, but thoughts that align with who you want to be and what you want to create. Thoughts that feel true in your soul, even if they don't feel true in your current circumstances. Thoughts like, I am a powerful creator. Abundance flows to me easily. I am worthy of everything I desire. The universe is always working in my favor. These aren't lies. These are truths that your ego has been hiding from you. Third, you have to feel the feelings that match those new thoughts. Because thoughts without emotion are like seeds without water. They won't grow. You have to cultivate the feeling of already having what you desire. The feeling of already being who you want to be. This is where most people get stuck, because they think feeling good is dependent on their circumstances. But it's not. Your feelings are a choice. They're a skill you can develop. You can choose to feel grateful right now, even if your life isn't perfect. You can choose to feel abundant right now, even if your bank account is low. You can choose to feel peaceful right now, even if there's chaos around you. And fourth, you have to take inspired action. Not frantic action, not desperate action, inspired action. Action that comes from that place of alignment, that place of flow. Action that feels good, that feels right, that feels like the next natural step. Because manifestation isn't about sitting on your couch and waiting for things to fall from the sky. It's about becoming so aligned internally that you're magnetized to the right opportunities, the right people, the right circumstances. And then you take action from that aligned place, and it feels easy. It feels natural. It feels like you're being carried by a current rather than swimming against it. This is what it means to rearrange your mind. It's not a one-time thing. It's a daily practice. It's a moment-by-moment choice. It's a commitment to yourself that no matter what happens, no matter what challenges arise, you're going to keep choosing alignment. You're going to keep choosing the higher thought. You're going to keep choosing to see things through the lens of possibility rather than limitation. And I want to tell you something important. You're going to mess up. You're going to have days where you fall back into old patterns. Days where you doubt everything I'm saying. Days where you feel like none of this works and you might as well give up. And that's okay. That's part of the process. Because rearranging your mind isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's about getting back up every time you fall. It's about remembering again and again who you really are underneath all the conditioning and all the fear. You know, I've studied the lives of people who manifested extraordinary things. People who went from poverty to wealth. People who healed from supposedly incurable diseases. People who created movements and changed the world. And you know what they all had in common? It wasn't intelligence. It wasn't connections. It wasn't luck. It was a fundamental shift in how they saw themselves and what they believed was possible. They rearranged their minds first, and then their lives rearranged to match. And here's what I want you to understand. You have that same power right now. Not after you read another book, not after you take another course, not after you become a different person. Right now, exactly as you are, you have the power to rearrange your mind. You have the power to choose a different thought. You have the power to tell a different story. You have the power to step into a different version of yourself. But you have to be willing to let go of who you've been. You have to be willing to release the identity you've been clinging to, even if that identity has brought you some kind of payoff. Because often we hold on to our limitations because they give us something, an excuse, a reason to play small, a way to avoid the responsibility of our own power. But I'm here to tell you, you are far more powerful than you've been pretending to be. And the world needs you to stop playing small. The world needs you to rearrange your mind and step into the fullness of who you are. Because when you do that, you don't just change your own life, you change the lives of everyone around you. You become a beacon. You become proof that it's possible. You become an invitation for others to do the same. Your transformation ripples out in ways you can't even imagine. Think about it. When you walk into a room in a state of fear and scarcity, everyone feels it. The energy is heavy. Conversations are guarded. Connection is difficult. But when you walk into a room in a state of love and abundance, everything shifts. People light up. Opportunities arise. Magic happens. Why? Because you're not just a person. You're a vibrational being. You're constantly broadcasting a signal, and that signal is creating your reality in every moment. So the question is, what signal are you broadcasting? Is it the signal of lack, of fear, of limitation? Or is it the signal of abundance, of love, of infinite possibility? And if it's not the signal you want to be broadcasting, can you change it? Can you rearrange your mind right now to align with a different frequency? I know you can. I know you can because I've done it. I've lived it. I've spent years in my own process of rearranging my mind, of letting go of old beliefs, of choosing again and again to see things differently. And I've watched thousands of people do the same. I've watched people who were convinced they were stuck completely transform their lives, not because anything external changed first, but because they changed the arrangement of their minds. They changed what they believed was possible. They changed how they saw themselves. And then, almost like magic, their external world began to reflect back that new internal reality. And here's something beautiful. The universe is infinitely abundant. There's enough for everyone. You don't have to compete for your good. You don't have to take from someone else. You don't have to prove you're worthy. You just have to align with the flow of abundance that's already there, that's always been there, waiting for you to open up and receive it. But you can't receive when your hands are clenched in fear. You can't receive when your mind is closed in doubt. You can't receive when your heart is guarded in unworthiness. You have to open. You have to soften. You have to rearrange yourself from protection to reception, from defense to allowance. This is the spiritual work. This is what all the great teachers have been pointing to for thousands of years. It's not about doing more, it's about being more. It's not about adding something to yourself. It's about removing the blocks to what's already within you. It's not about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you've always been underneath all the layers of conditioning and fear. You are a divine being. You are a creator. You are connected to infinite intelligence. You are worthy of every blessing. You are capable of manifesting anything your heart truly desires. Not because I'm saying so, but because that's the fundamental nature of consciousness. That's the fundamental truth of who you are. And when you rearrange your mind to align with that truth, everything becomes possible. Doors open that you didn't even know were there. People show up who are perfect for your path. Ideas come to you that are exactly what you need. Circumstances align in ways that feel miraculous, not because you're lucky, not because you're special, but because you've aligned yourself with the natural flow of the universe. You've stopped resisting. You've stopped fighting. You've rearranged your internal world to match the truth of your being. So I want to leave you with this. Starting right now, today, in this very moment, make the decision to rearrange your mind. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait until you feel ready. You'll never feel ready. The readiness comes in the doing. The courage comes in the choosing. The transformation comes in the commitment. Choose a thought that serves you. Choose a belief that empowers you. Choose a feeling that uplifts you. And then choose it again tomorrow and the next day and the day after that. Not because it's easy. Not because you feel like it. But because you've decided that you're no longer available for a life of limitation. You've decided that you're done playing small. You've decided that you're ready to step into the fullness of who you were created to be. And here's what I know for certain. When you make that decision, when you truly commit to rearranging your mind, the universe will meet you. It will support you. It will guide you. It will bring you everything you need exactly when you need it. Not on your timeline, but on divine timing. Not in the way you expect, but in the way that's perfect for your highest good. Trust that. Trust the process. Trust yourself. Trust the infinite intelligence that lives within you and around you and as you. You are not alone in this. You are supported by forces you cannot see, but you can absolutely feel when you quiet your mind and listen. Rearrange your mind. Align with your truth. Step into your power. And watch as everything you've been seeking begins to seek you. This is the law. This is the way. This is your birthright. Now go live it. Listen to me carefully. There's a reason you're hearing these words right now. Not tomorrow, not last week, right now, in this exact moment. You've been waiting, you've been preparing. You've been going through things that broke you down so something new could be built. And tonight, right now, you're finally ready to receive what's been waiting for you all along. I want you to feel something for a moment. Feel how different this moment is. Feel how something in you has shifted. You're not the same person you were 6 months ago. You're not even the same person you were last week. Something has changed inside of you. Something has opened. Something has surrendered. And that's why you're here. That's why these words found you. Because you're ready now. Finally, truly ready. God doesn't speak to you when you think you're ready. God speaks to you when you actually are. And there's a difference. A big difference. You can think you're ready for years. You can want things. You can pray for things. You can visualize things. But until you're actually ready, until something deep inside of you shifts into true alignment, the message can't land. The shift can't happen. The doors can't open. But tonight, something is different. You feel it, don't you? That quiet knowing, that sense that something is about to break open, that awareness that you're standing at a threshold. You are. You absolutely are. And what I'm about to share with you isn't just information. It's confirmation. Confirmation of what your soul already knows. Confirmation that yes, it's time. Yes, you're ready. Yes, everything is about to shift. Here's what I need you to understand. God's timing isn't random. It isn't arbitrary. It isn't cruel. Every single delay you've experienced, every door that closed in your face, every prayer that seemed unanswered, it was all preparation. It was all necessary. Because what's coming for you is bigger than what you've been asking for. What's coming for you requires a different version of you, a stronger version, a clearer version, a more aligned version. And you've been becoming that version. through every heartbreak, through every disappointment, through every moment you wanted to give up but didn't, through every night you cried yourself to sleep wondering if God had forgotten about you. Through all of it, you were being forged. You were being refined. You were being prepared for this moment. The caterpillar doesn't know it's becoming a butterfly. In the cocoon, in the darkness, in what feels like death, it has no idea that transformation is happening. It just knows that everything it was is dissolving. Everything familiar is falling away. And if that caterpillar could think, it would probably believe it's ending, but it's not ending. It's beginning. You've been in the cocoon. You've been in the darkness. You've been dissolving everything that wasn't really you, all the false identities, all the limiting beliefs, all the stories you told yourself about who you are and what you deserve. And it's been painful. God, it's been painful. But it's been necessary. Because you can't become who you're meant to be while clinging to who you've been. And tonight, you're emerging. Not fully, not all at once, but the process has reached a tipping point. You're ready now in a way you weren't before. You're open now in a way you weren't before. You're available now in a way you weren't before. And because of that, everything, and I mean everything, is about to shift. Here's God's message to you tonight, and I need you to receive this deeply. You are more ready than you think you are. You are more prepared than you feel. You are more capable than you believe. And what you've been waiting for has been waiting for you to become ready to receive it without destroying yourself with it. Because here's what most people don't understand. God doesn't withhold blessings from you. God waits for you to expand enough to hold them. Everything you've been praying for, the love, the abundance, the success, the peace, the purpose, it's all available right now. It's always been available. But if you received it before you were ready, before you had done the inner work, before you had become the person who could steward it properly, it would have crushed you. It would have corrupted you. It would have become a burden rather than a blessing. So God, in infinite wisdom, in infinite love, held it back, not as punishment, as protection, as preparation. And while you waited, while you wondered if it would ever happen, while you questioned if you were worthy or if God even heard you, you were being shaped. You were being expanded. You were being made ready. And now you are ready. I mean, you're ready in your soul, even if your mind still has doubts. You're ready in your spirit, even if your circumstances don't reflect it yet. You're ready because you've survived what you weren't sure you could survive. You've grown through what you thought would destroy you. You've kept faith when every logical reason told you to give up. That's readiness. Not perfection, not having it all figured out, not feeling confident every moment of every day. Readiness is the willingness to keep showing up even when you can't see the path. Readiness is the courage to keep believing even when the evidence isn't there yet. Readiness is the decision to trust God's timing even when it makes no sense to your human mind. And you've been doing that. Maybe not perfectly, maybe with moments of doubt and fear and frustration, but you've been doing it. And that's why tonight matters. That's why this moment matters. Because God sees your readiness. God sees your faith. God sees how far you've come and who you've become. And the shift that's about to happen in your life is a direct response to your readiness. Let me tell you something I've learned after decades of studying spiritual law and human transformation. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It doesn't respond to your desperation. It doesn't respond to your worthiness or unworthiness. The universe responds to your vibration, to your frequency, to the state of being you're embodying. And when you're finally ready, when you've done the inner work, when you've healed the wounds, when you've released the resentments, when you've forgiven the unforgivable, when you've chosen faith over fear enough times that it becomes your default, your vibration changes, your frequency shifts, and suddenly you're a match for everything you've been asking for. That's what's happening right now. You've reached a frequency that you haven't been at before. You've achieved a level of inner alignment that's new. You've become someone who's ready to receive without self-sabotaging, without pushing it away, without feeling like you don't deserve it, without being so afraid of losing it that you can't enjoy having it. This is huge. This is the shift that changes everything. Because once you're ready, truly ready, the floodgates open. Not all at once necessarily, but they open. Doors that were locked suddenly swing wide. Opportunities that were invisible suddenly appear. People who can help you suddenly show up. Ideas that can transform your life suddenly come through. Money that was blocked suddenly flows. Love that was missing suddenly finds you. Not because God suddenly decided to bless you, but because you finally became ready to receive the blessings that were always there, always available, always waiting for you to match their frequency. And here's what I want you to understand about this shift. It's not about external circumstances changing first. It's about your internal state changing first. You know how you can tell you're ready? You're not anxious anymore. Or at least when anxiety comes, you don't let it run your life. You're not desperate anymore. You still desire what you desire, but you're not attached to it, showing up in a specific way at a specific time. You're not bitter anymore. You've forgiven, you've released, you've let go of the need to control how it all unfolds. That's readiness. That's the shift. And when you reach that place, when you embody that state, the external world has no choice but to rearrange itself to match. Because you're no longer pushing against reality. You're no longer fighting with what is. You're no longer arguing with God's timing. You've surrendered, not given up. Surrendered. There's a massive difference. Giving up is hopeless. Surrender is hopeful. Giving up says, it's never going to happen. Surrender says, I trust that it will happen in the perfect way at the perfect time, and I don't need to force it. Giving up is collapse. Surrender is expansion. Giving up closes you down. Surrender opens you up, and you've surrendered. Maybe you didn't even realize it. Maybe it happened gradually. Maybe it happened in one moment of exhaustion when you finally said, okay, God, I can't do this anymore. I'm going to trust you. I'm going to let go. I'm going to stop trying to control everything and just let you lead. Maybe that moment happened weeks ago. Maybe it happened this morning, but it happened. And that's why everything is about to shift, because surrender is the doorway. Surrender is the key. Surrender is what makes you ready. Not passive, not weak, not resigned, but truly, deeply ready to receive what God has been preparing for you. Now, I want to talk about what this shift is going to look like, because it might not be what you expect. God's blessings rarely show up the way we think they will. We have this picture in our mind of how it should happen, when it should happen, who should be involved. And God says, that's cute, but I have a much better plan. The shift might start small. It might start with an inner shift, a sudden clarity, a release of an old fear, a new level of peace you haven't felt before. It might start with a conversation that seems random but turns out to be pivotal. It might start with an opportunity that doesn't seem like much on the surface but opens up into something extraordinary. Or it might start big. It might be the phone call you've been waiting for, the person you've been praying for, the breakthrough you've been working toward, the healing you've been seeking, the answer that suddenly becomes crystal clear. However it starts, trust it. Don't judge it. Don't compare it to what you thought it would look like. Don't doubt it because it's not dramatic enough or because it's too dramatic. Just receive it. Trust that God knows exactly what you need and exactly when you need it. Trust that this shift, however it unfolds, is perfect for you. And here's something critical. When the shift starts happening, your old self is going to panic. Your ego is going to freak out. Why? Because your ego has been running the show for a long time. It's been in control. It's been calling the shots. It's been protecting you, or at least trying to, by keeping you small, keeping you safe, keeping you in the familiar. But this shift requires you to step into the unfamiliar, to expand beyond what you've known, to become someone you've never been. And your ego doesn't like that. Your ego is going to whisper doubts. It's going to bring up every failure from your past. It's going to remind you of every time you tried and didn't succeed. It's going to tell you that you're not actually ready, that you're going to mess this up, that you should just play it safe. And in that moment, you have to remember who you really are. You're not your ego. You're not your doubts. You're not your past. You're a spiritual being with infinite potential. You're connected to the same creative force that spoke galaxies into existence. You're worthy not because of what you've done or achieved, but because you exist, because God made you, because you're a beloved child of the universe. When you remember that, when you really feel that, the ego's voice gets quieter, the doubts lose their power, and you can step forward into the shift with courage and faith and trust. I want you to do something right now. I want you to think about what you've been praying for, what you've been hoping for, what you've been working toward. Not the surface stuff, the deep stuff, the thing your soul truly longs for. Maybe it's love, real, deep, unconditional love. Maybe it's purpose, a sense that your life matters, that you're here for a reason. Maybe it's abundance, not just money, but a feeling of having enough, being enough, living in overflow. Maybe it's peace, an end to the anxiety, the worry, the constant mental noise. Maybe it's healing of your body, your heart, your relationships, your past. Whatever it is, feel it right now. Don't analyze it. Don't question if you deserve it. Just feel what it would be like to have it, to be it, to live it. Feel it as if it's already yours, as if it's already real, as if it's already happening. That feeling, that's your soul recognizing truth. That's your spirit confirming what God already knows, that this is yours, this is for you, this is coming, and you're ready now to receive it. Here's what's going to happen over the coming days, weeks, months. You're going to start noticing things you didn't notice before. Opportunities, connections, synchronicities, things that seem too perfectly timed to be coincidence. And you're going to have a choice in those moments. You can dismiss them as random, or you can recognize them as God orchestrating your shift. Choose to recognize them. Choose to see the hand of the divine in the details. Choose to trust that nothing is random, that everything is meaningful, that you're being guided every step of the way. You're also going to face tests, not because God wants to punish you or make things difficult, but because the universe needs to know that you're really ready, that you've really changed, that you're not going to fall back into old patterns the moment things get challenging. These tests might look like old temptations showing up, old fears resurfacing, old people trying to pull you back into who you used to be. And in those moments, you have to stand firm. You have to choose differently than you used to choose. You have to prove to yourself, not to God, that you've truly shifted. And when you pass those tests, when you choose your new self over your old self, the doors open wider, the blessings flow faster, the shift accelerates, because you've demonstrated that you can handle what's coming. You've shown that you're not going to waste this opportunity. You've proven that you're ready, not just in word, but in deed. I know you've been tired. I know you've been wondering how much longer you have to wait. I know you've been questioning if it's ever going to happen, but I'm telling you tonight, it's happening right now. The shift has already begun. You're in it. You're living it. And over the coming days and weeks, you're going to see evidence of it everywhere. Your job isn't to figure out how it's all going to unfold. Your job isn't to control the process. Your job isn't to manipulate circumstances or force doors open. Your job is simple. Stay ready. Stay aligned. Stay faithful. Stay open. Stay grateful. Stay humble. Stay expectant. Stay ready by doing the inner work every day, by choosing higher thoughts, by maintaining your spiritual practices, by keeping your vibration high. Stay aligned by listening to your intuition, by following the nudges, by taking inspired action when you feel called, by trusting yourself. Stay faithful by remembering that God's timing is perfect, by trusting that everything is working out for your highest good, by believing even when you can't see. Stay open by not deciding how your blessings should arrive, by releasing attachment to specific outcomes, by allowing God to surprise you. Stay grateful by acknowledging what's already good in your life, by thanking God for what's coming before it arrives, by living in appreciation rather than desperation. Stay humble by remembering that none of this is about you being special or better than anyone else. It's about you being ready. And anyone can become ready when they're willing to do the work. Stay expectant by waking up every day, knowing that today could be the day. Today could be when the phone rings. Today could be when you meet that person. Today could be when the breakthrough happens. Live in that expectancy. Live in that excitement. Live in that knowing. This is how you cooperate with the shift. This is how you allow what God has for you to fully land in your life. This is how you make sure that when the doors open, you walk through them. When the opportunities arrive, you take them. When the blessings show up, you receive them with grace and gratitude. And here's what I know for certain. When you look back on this moment 6 months from now, a year from now, you're going to see this as the turning point. You're going to see this as the moment everything changed. Not because of anything I said, but because you were ready to hear it. Because something in you recognized truth. Because your soul knew that, yes, this is the moment. This is when it all shifts. So receive this message tonight, not just with your mind, but with your whole being. Let it sink into your soul. Let it light up every cell in your body. Let it remind you of who you really are and what you're really capable of and what's really coming for you. You're ready, finally, truly, completely ready. And because you're ready, God is ready. The universe is ready. Your blessings are ready. Your shift is ready. Everything is ready. Now step forward. Step into your new life. Step into everything you've been preparing for. Step into the shift and watch with wonder, with amazement, with deep gratitude as everything you've been waiting for begins to unfold before your very eyes. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your shift. You're ready. God knows you're ready. And tonight, everything begins to change. Receive it, believe it, live it. You're finally ready, and your life will never be the same.